Welcome to the Quantum Excel tutorial series. In this video, we'll explain how Quantum Excel handles data types and why they matter. In Excel, any cell can hold any value: numbers, text, dates, or a mix of all three in the same column. Excel does not enforce data types. Quantum Excel does. When you run a statistical tool, Quantum Excel needs to know what kind of data it is working with. The data type you assign determines how values are interpreted, which values are valid, and ultimately, what your results look like. Quantum Excel supports 5 data types. Continuous, for any numerical value, including decimals and negatives. Count, for non-negative whole numbers, such as defect counts or quantities. Integer, for whole numbers that may be positive or negative. Date time, for date and time values. And nominal, for categorical labels, such as names, groups, or identifiers. To demonstrate, here is a single column of mixed data with a header, example. It contains a negative number, a positive whole number, a decimal, a text string, and a date. We will use the Pareto chart to observe how Quantum Excel treats this data under each type. Notice that the data type has defaulted to continuous. This is because Quantum Excel has automatic data type detection. When a column is selected, Quantum Excel examines the values and checks whether more than 50% of non-empty values match a given type. It evaluates them in a specific priority order: date time first, then count, integer, continuous, and finally nominal as the fallback. In this column, 3 of the 5 values are valid numbers. That exceeds the 50% threshold, and since no higher priority type met that threshold first, Quantum Excel selects continuous. Additionally, notice the word example here in the options. Clicking on it reveals metadata at the bottom of the window. The metadata describes the selected column based on the current data type. With continuous selected, it shows a total of 5 rows, 0 empty rows, 2 invalid rows, 3 numeric entries, a minimum of -1, a maximum of 5.5, and 5 unique values. The metadata updates automatically when you change the data type. For example, switching to count shows 4 invalid entries, since only the value 2 qualifies as a non-negative whole number. Switching to nominal shows 0 invalid rows and 1 string entry, since every value is accepted as a label. With continuous selected, the 3 numeric values are included: -1, 2, and 5.5. The text value and the date are filtered out. Now with integer selected, only whole numbers are valid. -1 and 2 remain. 5.5 is filtered out because it has a decimal component. With count, only non-negative whole numbers are accepted. That leaves just the value 2. -1 is excluded because counts cannot be negative. Also note that the value 2 is not being counted as an occurrence. It is being used as a count. Quantum Excel interprets count data as frequency values, not as raw observations to be tallied. With date time, only the date value remains. The numbers and the text string are not valid date or time values, so they are filtered out. With nominal, every value is accepted. Quantum Excel treats each entry as a categorical label. Numbers, text, and dates are all valid when interpreted as names rather than quantities. The Pareto chart now shows 5 distinct categories. Now, let's look at this in a more practical context. Here, we have 2 columns: company names and units sold. The units sold column contains the same mixed data as before. With units sold set as frequency data, Quantum Excel will use these values as the count for each corresponding company, rather than simply counting rows. As we change the data type, watch what happens to invalid values. They do not disappear from the table. The rows do not collapse. Instead, invalid values become empty cells. The row structure is preserved. When we set the data type to count, for example, Quantum Excel sees the data like this. The negative value, the decimal, the text, and the date are all treated as empty. Only the valid count value remains. This distinction matters. Your source data is never altered. Quantum Excel filters at the point of analysis, not in the spreadsheet itself. And that's how data types work in Quantum Excel.